The Forgotten Vessel. The massive Calvarian warship Eternal Dominion hung motionless against the backdrop of swirling cosmic dust, its obsidian hull absorbing rather than reflecting the distant starlight. On the command bridge, Supreme Commander Nyzoth stood with his four arms clasped behind his back, his iridescent exoskeleton glinting under the blue-tinted illumination panels. His compound eyes remained fixed on the viewscreen before him, studying the derelict vessel they had discovered drifting at the edge of unclaimed space. "How long has it been adrift, Science Director?" Nyzoth asked, his mandibles clicking slightly with each word. Science Director Valix approached the command platform, her slender form moving with the characteristic fluid grace of the Calvarian elite caste. "Preliminary scans indicate approximately 3 centuries, Supreme Commander. The radiation signature and design architecture match late 24th century human engineering. It appears to have been abandoned during the Terran collapse." Nyzoth's antenna twitched with interest. The Terran collapse, when humanity's brief expansion into the stars had been abruptly halted by internal conflicts and resource wars. Few human artifacts remained from that era, most having been scavenged or destroyed during the century of chaos that followed. "Curious that it remains intact," he mused. "What is the vessel designation?" Valix consulted her data pad. Hull markings identify it as the UES Prometheus. Historical records mention it as an experimental vessel, though specific details are limited. "Experimental," Nyzoth's secondary eyes narrowed. "Elaborate." "The records are fragmented, Supreme Commander. The Prometheus was supposedly equipped with prototype technology developed shortly before the collapse. The vessel disappeared during its maiden voyage. It was presumed destroyed." Tactical Officer Grex approached, his heavier build and scarred carapace marking him as a veteran of border skirmishes. "Supreme Commander, shall I prepare a salvage team? Human technology is primitive, but their resources could be repurposed." Nyzoth considered the recommendation. The Calvarian Empire had encountered humans only rarely since their retreat from galactic affairs. Their technology was generally considered inferior, functional but inelegant, relying on brute force approaches rather than the sophisticated biotech that formed the foundation of Calvarian advancement. "Prepare a research team," Nyzoth decided. "Science Director Valix will lead. I want to know why this vessel has survived when so many others did not." Within the hour, a boarding shuttle detached from the Eternal Dominion and approached the Prometheus. The human vessel was smaller than Calvarian warships, but substantial by most species standards, approximately 500 meters in length with a distinctive hammerhead design. Its hull was pockmarked with micrometeorite impacts and darkened by centuries of cosmic radiation, yet structurally intact. Valix led the 6-member team through the airlock, their environmental suits compensating for the minimal life support detected aboard. Emergency lighting flickered to life as they moved through the corridors, suggesting automated systems were still partially functional. "Fascinating," murmured biologist Zenith, scanning the bulkheads. "These metal alloys should have deteriorated significantly after 3 centuries, yet molecular degradation is minimal." Engineering specialist Tarak snorted, his mandibles flaring dismissively. "Typical human overengineering. They always favored redundant systems and excessive material use over efficient design." The team progressed deeper into the vessel, documenting everything they encountered. The layout was utilitarian by Calvarian standards: narrow corridors, individual quarters rather than communal spaces, manual controls instead of the neural interfaces standard in Calvarian ships. How did they ever manage interstellar travel with such primitive controls? Wondered Junior Officer Mekrix, examining what appeared to be a physical button panel. "Humans compensated for technological limitations with adaptability," Valix replied. "Their neural architecture lacks the uniformity required for direct interfaces. They developed workarounds." As they approached what sensors identified as the ship's bridge, Science Officer Lyrith paused suddenly, her antenna extended fully in alarm. "Director, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures ahead," she reported, adjusting her scanner. The pattern doesn't match known human technology from this era. Valix moved to examine Lyrith's readings. These energy patterns, they're almost reminiscent of quantum flux technology. Impossible, Tarek interjected. Humans never developed functional quantum systems. The theoretical groundwork wasn't established until centuries after the collapse. Nevertheless, Valix replied, these readings suggest otherwise. The bridge doors were sealed, but Tarek made quick work of the outdated security mechanisms. As the doors slid open, the team found themselves in a command center unlike what historical records suggested of human vessels. Instead of the expected cluttered, button-heavy consoles, the bridge featured sleek workstations arranged in a horseshoe configuration around a central command chair. This doesn't conform to historical data on human ship design, Valix observed, moving cautiously to examine the nearest station. These interfaces appear to be neural responsive. Perhaps this explains the experimental designation, Lyrith suggested, scanning the equipment. Director, these systems are in standby mode, not deactivated. It's as if the ship has been waiting. Tarek had discovered what appeared to be the engineering station. The power core configuration is unlike anything in our records. It's not utilizing fusion or antimatter containment. There's something else. Before he could complete his analysis, historian Devex called from across the bridge. Director Valix, you should examine this. Devex stood before a sealed bulkhead door that had slid partially open, revealing a chamber beyond. As the team gathered, they saw 7 pod-like structures arranged in a semicircle. Cryogenic preservation chambers, Valix identified, approaching the nearest pod. Through the frosted viewport, she could make out the features of a human, a female with pale skin and dark hair, her expression serene in suspended animation. They're active, Lyrith confirmed, scanning the pods. Life signs are stable, these humans are alive. A stunned silence fell over the team. The preservation of organic tissue over centuries required technological sophistication far beyond what humans had supposedly achieved before the collapse. How is this possible? Tarek demanded. No known cryogenic technology could maintain cellular integrity for 3 centuries without degradation. Valix approached the central console on the bridge. Let's see if we can access the ship's logs. Perhaps they can provide answers. After several attempts, the console illuminated, projecting a holographic display that startled the team with its clarity and resolution. This interface technology is at least 2 centuries beyond historical human capabilities, Lyrith whispered. Valix navigated through the unfamiliar system until she located what appeared to be the final log entry. The hologram shifted to display a human male in a uniform bearing insignia that matched no known historical record. Final log entry, Captain Marcus Donovan, UES Prometheus, the recording began. Project Lazarus has succeeded beyond our wildest expectations. The temporal distortion field has been stabilized. With Earth's resources depleted and the colonies in revolt, humanity's survival depends on finding a new path forward. The Prometheus carries our best minds and the culmination of our scientific achievements. We are activating the distortion field and setting course for the deep void. When we emerge, perhaps humanity will have found its way again. If not, we carry the seeds of a new beginning. The recording ended, leaving the Calvarian team in silence. Temporal distortion field, Tarek finally said. That's theoretical even by our current standards. It would explain the minimal degradation, Lyrith noted. If the ship has been in some form of temporal stasis, only relative years would have passed for it, despite centuries in real space. Valix's attention had turned to another console that had activated during the log playback. This appears to be the ship's status monitor. It's running some kind of diagnostic sequence. As the team gathered around the display, a low hum began to reverberate through the vessel, gradually increasing in intensity. "What's happening?" demanded Grex, who had remained near the entrance with his weapon ready. Lyrith stared at her scanner in growing alarm. "Director, power levels are rising across all systems. The ship is waking up." "Shut it down," Valix ordered. "I can't," Lyrith replied, her mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. The systems are locked out. It appears our presence has triggered some kind of automated revival protocol. The hum intensified, and the lights on the bridge shifted from emergency red to standard illumination. The cryogenic pods began emitting a series of tones, and the frosted viewports cleared, providing an unobstructed view of their occupants. "Director," Tarek called urgently from the engineering console, "the power core is activating. These readings. They're unlike anything I've ever seen. The energy output is approaching levels comparable to our main battle cruisers." Grex moved to the bridge entrance. "We should return to the shuttle immediately. This situation has become unpredictable." Valix hesitated, torn between scientific curiosity and caution. "Agreed. We'll report to Supreme Commander Nizoth and request further instructions." As the team turned to leave, the bridge doors slid shut with unexpected speed. Status lights above each console shifted from amber to green as systems came fully online. "We're locked in," Grex reported, examining the door mechanism. A new voice echoed through the bridge, synthesized but distinctly human. "Cryogenic revival sequence initiated. Estimated time to completion, 3 minutes. Welcome back, Captain Donovan." The cryogenic pods began a defrosting sequence, condensation forming on their exterior as their internal temperature gradually increased. "Director," Lyrith whispered, "I believe we're about to meet the crew of the Prometheus." Valix turned to face the cryogenic chambers, her scientific mind already formulating the questions she would ask these humans who had somehow cheated time itself. The implications were staggering. If humans had mastered temporal manipulation before their collapse, what other technological marvels might this ship contain? The first pod seal released with a soft hiss, and the viewport slid upward. Inside, the human female's eyes fluttered open, alert and focused in a way that should have been impossible after centuries of suspension. Her gaze fixed immediately on the Calvarian team, showing surprise but not fear. More pods began opening in sequence. 7 humans in total, each awakening with the same unnatural alertness. They moved with coordination that suggested military training, quickly assembling in a defensive formation facing the aliens. From the central pod emerged a tall male with dark skin and commanding presence. Captain Donovan, Valix presumed. He stepped forward, studying the Calvarians with analytical intensity before speaking in a calm, measured voice. "I am Captain Marcus Donovan of the United Earth ship Prometheus," he announced. "You appear to be non-human sentients boarding my vessel without authorization. I suggest you explain yourselves quickly." Before Valix could formulate a response, the ship's artificial intelligence spoke again. "Captain, I detect a large vessel of unknown configuration approximately 500 kilometers from our position. Scanning indicates advanced weapons systems and defensive capabilities. The vessel appears to be in standby alert status." Donovan's expression hardened as he addressed the Calvarian team. "It seems we have much to discuss, starting with your intentions toward my ship and crew." Valix realized that their simple salvage mission had just become infinitely more complicated. Whatever the Prometheus truly was, it represented technology far beyond what the Calvarian Empire had attributed to humans. The balance of power that had defined galactic politics for centuries might be about to shift dramatically. And the Supreme Commander would not be pleased. Humanity's response. Captain Marcus Donovan's dark eyes assessed the alien intruders with military precision, categorizing potential threats while maintaining a deliberately neutral expression. Behind him, his crew had taken up strategic positions around the bridge without needing orders, the result of years of training and implicit trust. "I'll ask again," Donovan said, his voice carrying the unmistakable authority of command. "Who are you and why are you aboard my vessel?" Science Director Valix stepped forward, her slender form straightening to its full height, still a head shorter than the imposing human captain. "I am Science Director Valix of the Calvarian Imperial Fleet vessel Eternal Dominion. We discovered your ship adrift and boarded for scientific assessment. We meant no intrusion. A human female with closely cropped silver hair and the bearing of a veteran warrior moved to Donovan's side. Captain, all ship systems are coming online. Weapons, propulsion, and defensive systems at 87% capacity and rising. Thank you, Commander Reeves, Donovan acknowledged without taking his eyes off the aliens. Valex's antenna twitched with surprise at the mention of weapons. Historical records indicated human vessels of this era carried only basic defensive capabilities. The casual reference to offensive systems was concerning. Your vessel has been adrift for over 3 centuries by our measurement, Valex explained. The Calvarian Empire now controls this sector of space. We believed humans had retreated from interstellar affairs following the event your records might reference as the Terran collapse. A shorter human with bronze skin and features suggesting East Asian ancestry approached one of the bridge consoles. His uniform indicated a scientific role. Captain, I'm accessing current star charts from their vessel's navigational beacon. Confirming their statement, stellar drift patterns suggest approximately 312 years have passed in relative time. Understood, Dr. Nakamura, Donovan replied. Full system diagnostic. The bridge hummed with increasing activity as dormant systems awakened. Holographic displays materialized above previously blank surfaces, revealing information in configurations that confused the Calvarian team with their complexity and integration. This is impossible, engineering specialist Tarak muttered. These systems are centuries beyond documented human capability. A tall human male with unusually pale skin and striking blue eyes looked up from what appeared to be an engineering station. Are quantum-linked neural interfaces confusing you? He asked with evident amusement. Don't worry, most humans thought it was impossible too until we built it. Chief Engineer Russell, focus on bringing the temporal displacement field back online, Donovan ordered. Temporal displacement field? Valex repeated, her scientific curiosity temporarily overriding diplomatic caution. You've achieved controlled manipulation of the temporal dimension. Dr. Nakamura exchanged a glance with Donovan, who gave a slight nod. The Prometheus was Earth's last hope, Nakamura explained, his tone clinical but tinged with old grief. As resources dwindled and colony conflicts intensified, a consortium of remaining nations pooled their resources for one final project. We discovered something on Mars, ancient technology from a civilization that predated humanity by millions of years. Commander Reeves continued the explanation while maintaining her guard stance. The technology was beyond our comprehension, but we managed to reverse engineer aspects of it. The Prometheus incorporates those principles, allowing us to create a temporal bubble that effectively removed us from normal space-time flow. We were meant to travel forward 50 years, Donovan added. Time enough for the conflicts to resolve or for Earth to become uninhabitable. Either way, we carried the seeds of human civilization, genetic samples, cultural records, scientific knowledge, everything needed to rebuild. Valex processed this information with growing alarm. If humans had mastered even partial temporal manipulation 3 centuries ago, what else might they have achieved? Your mission failed, Tactical Officer Grex stated bluntly. You overshot your temporal target by centuries. A new voice joined the conversation. A human woman with dark skin and intricate braids woven with what appeared to be data interfaces. She stood at what must be the navigation station. Actually, she said, we didn't fail at all. The temporal calculations were precise, Lieutenant Commander Jackson at your service, she added with a crisp nod. We programmed the Prometheus to emerge when humanity needed us most. The ship's AI monitored temporal fragments, echoes from potential futures, and selected this emergence point specifically. Donovan's expression remained neutral, but his posture tensed slightly. Which brings us to the question of humanity's current status. What happened to Earth? The colonies. The Calvarian team exchanged uncomfortable glances. Valex chose her words carefully. After the collapse, human civilization fractured further. Many Earth regions became uninhabitable due to climate shifts and resource wars. The colonies declared independence and developed isolated societies. Approximately 100 years ago, the Calvarian Empire began expanding into this sector and encountered scattered human settlements. And, Donovan prompted, his voice hardening. Grex shifted his weight, hand moving subtly closer to his weapon. The settlements were technologically primitive. They were offered protectorate status within the Empire, most accepted. Protectorate, Commander Reeves repeated, her tone making the word sound like a curse. A polite term for subjugation. The Empire provides security and resources in exchange for loyalty and tribute, Valix explained defensively. It is a mutually beneficial arrangement. A harsh laugh came from a human female at the communications station, a woman with warm brown skin and a scar running along her jawline. Translation: you conquered what was left of humanity and turned them into vassals. Communication Officer Ortega, by the way, she added with mock cheerfulness. Captain, Dr. Nakamura interrupted, I've completed analysis of current data streams. Human populations exist on 17 worlds, all under Calvarian control. Estimated total human population is approximately 3 billion, compared to pre-collapse estimates of 11 billion. Donovan's jaw tightened, the only visible sign of his reaction to this news. What about Earth? Designated as a prohibited zone, Valix answered. The climate destabilization and persistent radiation made it uninhabitable for standard settlement. Some research outposts exist in the less contaminated regions. A heavy silence fell over the bridge as the Prometheus crew absorbed this information. 3 centuries of human history, most of it apparently marked by decline and subjugation, weighed on them. Engineer Russell broke the silence. Temporal displacement field is online, Captain. We can make a micro jump any time. Hold that order, Donovan replied. We need more information before determining our next move. Valix recognized the dangerous undercurrent in the conversation. These humans possessed technology that could potentially threaten the Empire, and they had just learned their species had been reduced to client status under Calvarian rule. Captain Donovan, she said carefully, I suggest we continue this discussion with Supreme Commander Nyzoth aboard the Eternal Dominion. As ranking science officer, I lack the authority to negotiate matters of potential diplomatic significance. Negotiate? Commander Reeves scoffed. Sounds like there's nothing to negotiate. Humanity needs liberation, not diplomacy. Donovan raised a hand, silencing his second-in-command. We'll meet your commander, Director Valix, but here, on the Prometheus. Before Valix could respond, the ship's AI spoke. Captain, the Calvarian vessel is powering weapons systems and raising shields. They are moving to establish targeting lock. Tactical Officer Grex tapped his communication device. Supreme Commander Nyzoth must have grown concerned by our extended absence, he explained hurriedly. Standard protocol when a research team fails to report on schedule. Or perhaps, Commander Reeves suggested coldly, your Supreme Commander decided a potentially advanced human vessel represents a threat to Calvarian dominance. Donovan moved to the captain's chair, settling into it with practiced ease. Open a channel to the Calvarian vessel, he ordered the AI. A large holographic screen materialized at the front of the bridge, displaying the imposing figure of Supreme Commander Nyzoth. His compound eyes widened slightly at the sight of the awakened humans. This is Captain Marcus Donovan of the UES Prometheus. Your research team is unharmed and will be returned to you shortly. I request a meeting to discuss matters of mutual concern. Nyzoth's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation, Valix knew. Captain Donovan, your vessel appears to possess technology of unexpected sophistication. The Calvarian Empire requires that you power down your systems and prepare for boarding and inspection as per Imperial regulation concerning unregistered vessels in Imperial space. Donovan's expression remained impassive. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Commander. The Prometheus is a sovereign vessel of Earth. We do not recognize Imperial authority over this ship or its crew. Nyzoth's posture stiffened visibly. Then you leave me no choice but to... Before you continue, Donovan interrupted calmly, you should know that we've analyzed your vessel's capabilities, impressive but insufficient. With a subtle gesture from Donovan, Engineer Russell activated something on his console. Instantly, the holographic display split to show the eternal dominion from an external perspective, an impossible view unless. We've deployed quantum-entangled observation drones, Russell explained to the confused Kelvarians on the bridge. They're providing real-time tactical data. Your vessel masses approximately 2.4 million metric tons, Lieutenant Commander Jackson added. Main weapons include particle beam arrays and gravitic torpedoes. Shield technology utilizes phase-synchronized energy fields. Commander Reeves stepped forward. In other words, we know exactly what we're dealing with. Nizoth's compound eyes narrowed. Your assessment changes nothing. The Eternal Dominion is a sovereign-class battlecruiser with escort vessels en route. Power down your systems immediately. Donovan exchanged glances with his bridge crew before responding. Science Director Valix, he said, addressing the Kelvarian scientist rather than Nizoth, would you say your empire is generally reasonable in diplomatic matters, open to evidence-based reconsideration of positions? Valix hesitated, aware that both her commander and the human captain were evaluating her response. The Empire values stability and rational governance, she answered carefully. Evidence is respected. Good, Donovan nodded. Then perhaps a demonstration will help avoid unnecessary conflict. He turned back to the screen. Supreme Commander, I'm transmitting coordinates for an uninhabited planetoid approximately 0.8 light-years from our position, if you would direct your attention there. On the tactical display, a small rocky body appeared, one of countless nameless planetoids drifting in the void between star systems. Engineer Russell's fingers danced across his console. Targeting systems locked, deploying a Class 1 demonstration package. A subtle vibration passed through the Prometheus as something launched from its hull. On the tactical display, a small object accelerated away from the ship at impossible speed. What are you doing? Nizoth demanded. Providing evidence, Donovan replied simply. 20 seconds later, the planetoid on the tactical display flashed brilliantly and then ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris field. It simply vanished, leaving empty space where 1 billion tons of rock had been moments before. Stunned silence fell over both bridges. Localized temporal inversion, Dr. Nakamura explained, his voice clinically detached. The planetoid now exists approximately 2 million years in the past, though in a parallel probability track to avoid causality violations. Tactical Officer Grex's mandibles hung slack in shock. That's not possible. The Prometheus carries 12 such devices, Commander Reeves stated flatly, among other defensive systems. Captain Donovan leaned forward in his chair. Now, Supreme Commander Nizoth, I suggest we discuss the future relationship between humanity and the Kelvarian Empire. I believe the term protectorate may need reconsideration. On the holographic display, Nizoth's posture had changed subtly, the aggressive confidence replaced by cautious reassessment. Perhaps further discussion would be prudent. Excellent, Donovan replied. As a gesture of goodwill, I'll return your research team immediately. Please prepare to receive representatives from the Prometheus for formal diplomatic exchange within 6 hours. After the communication ended, and arrangements were made for the Kelvarian team's departure, Valix found herself escorted to the shuttle bay by Commander Reeves and Dr. Nakamura. Your captain handled that skillfully, Valix observed. He avoided direct threats while demonstrating overwhelming capability. Reeves' expression remained guarded. Captain Donovan understands that liberation doesn't always require violence. Sometimes just changing the terms of the conversation is enough. What happens now? Valix asked, genuine scientific curiosity overriding political concerns. Your technology could destabilize the entire galactic power structure. Dr. Nakamura smiled thinly. That's rather the point, isn't it? Humanity was meant to walk among the stars as equals, not servants. As they reached the shuttle bay, Valix paused. There's something I don't understand. If your mission was to preserve humanity, why wait until now? Why not emerge earlier before the Empire expanded into human space? Commander Reeves and Dr. Nakamura exchanged meaningful glances. The Prometheus didn't choose this moment because humanity is subjugated, Nakamura explained. It chose this moment because of what's coming. What's coming? Valix repeated, her antenna trembling slightly at the ominous tone. The ship's temporal sensors detected something approaching from the galactic rim, Reeves said. Something that threatens not just humanity or the Calvarian Empire, but all sentient life. The AI calculated that this precise moment, with humans under Calvarian protection but the Prometheus technology still centuries beyond current capabilities, offers the highest probability of species survival. Survival, Valix's scientific mind raced with implications. You mean extinction-level threat? Dr. Nakamura nodded solemnly. Within approximately 5 years, something enters this galaxy that our predictive models show eliminating 99.8% of all advanced life forms. The Prometheus wasn't designed just to save humanity from itself. It was designed to save everyone from what's coming. As Valix boarded the shuttle with her team, her mind whirled with revelations. What had begun as a routine salvage mission had transformed into first contact with a humanity far more advanced than anyone had imagined. And now, the suggestion of an existential threat approaching the galaxy itself.